Hello, hello, hello. Excuse me. Happy Thursday, everyone. So, I need to know that at least one person is in the chat, one person is with me live. And once I see one person giving me a thumbs up, or a greeting, or an emoji, I will get started. All right. We have about an hour, give or take, to cover what we are covering. So, please, if you are online, give me a thumbs up, give me an emoji, and once I see that, I will get started. Okay? We are covering shell. Wonderful. I see you, Mr. James. Thank you. Okay. Because I can't see. Yes, I see you. Awesome. Victor, thank you. Okay. So let's get started. All right. So what I'm going to do is now, let me say this. You on the session, you are directing me. All right. So if there's a specific command or a specific thing about bash shell that you want me to cover, please boldly put it in the chat. Okay. I don't really have an agenda, but what I'm doing is somebody gave me access to their that is their their dashboard. So I'm going through the exercises from which chapter was it now? The exercises from shell input, output, redirections, and filters. And I'll just be explaining as I go along. But please feel free to interrupt me. Okay. If you cannot hear me, let me know. Just let me know what's going on. Okay. And I will follow your lead because this is for all of you. Right. Okay. So the first task I saw here was, writing a script that prints hello world, right? And I think many of you got it. It's the echo command. And the echo is, if you think of like a normal echo, right? When you, like, let's say if you're in a mountainous area, right? Hey, you shout and you hear it back. Whatever you shouted, you hear it back. So the echo command is a command that reflects back to you what you gave it. So if I say echo hello, if I can spell hello world. Now the echo, you have to put whatever you're echoing in double quotes. Okay, whatever it is you're echoing, you start with double quote and you end. So that echo, it echoes it back to you. You see? So it echoes it back to standard output, whatever the standard output is. In this case, it is the terminal, right? It echoes it back to standard output. Okay. So that is the echo. So writing a script for this is basically just putting this command in a script file, in an executable file, right? And I think you people have been through that, how you make a file executable by giving it executable permission. Okay. All right. This one says, write a script that displays a confused smiley, which is this. I'm just going to copy it, right? I'm not actually writing the script because I don't think it's necessary to discuss but if it gets to that point, I can write it. So this was the confused smiley that, they are asking you to echo, to print back. Please explain why we use the shebang. Okay, you mean in a script. Okay, so let me show you that. Vim, let me see, where am I? Okay, I'm in my home directory. Let me make a directory, bash shell session. Okay, and I'm going to cd into that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make a script called why shebang, right? Okay. So the reason so what you're talking about is, I always forget like which order it comes. Just hold on one second. Let me remind myself. Okay, it's the hash before the bang. Okay. So you have this. Wait, I have to input I for insert. Okay. So you have this, right? Bin bash. Okay. Now, I am not a computer science graduate. Okay. So I'm not able to give you the computer science basis, but this is how you tell the terminal, this is how you tell the server that this is a script. Okay. And this script should be evaluated using the bash, the bash language, because you can write scripts in different languages or with different protocols. So bin bash is just one of them. I think you can do it in Python and definitely some other languages. Okay. So this entry at the top is just letting, by the time you execute this file, is letting the system know almost like in which language this script is written, so that the server knows how to interpret the different commands, okay? Knows how to interpret the script. I hope that's what you were asking, why we use shebang. This, yes, that this is the shebang here, right? So that's why. Okay. Hello, Adebero, how are you? Okay, so let me come out of this. Okay, all right. So continuing. So I was talking about this confused smiley. Okay, let's talk about it, because this is introducing you to special characters. So if I say echo, if I just print, the confused smiley, if I just print it, that's if I just copy it, I'm copying it from the dashboard just as it is, okay? And I say enter. What is happening? You see that this is almost like a prompt that has opened. The reason for that is echo. Remember when I said that echo echoes what you put in between double quotation. So the reason why this prompt opened up like this means the command has not yet completed, or you have not terminated the command properly. The reason for that is because this character, this emoji, or this what do they call it? This smiley is starting with a double quote, but it's not ending with one. That's why this happened. Okay, because the echo statement does not have a closing double quote. So the system, this actually means I'm waiting for more. The server actually believes that there's more information you want to echo. That's why you didn't close it. Okay. So I closed it. What I did was I gave it that extra information. It's waiting for the closing double quote. And I gave it the closing double quote, and then it executed the command. But you see what happened? It only echoed the characters inside the double quotes. So if you want this double quote to be part of what you echo, you have to escape it. And escaping a character means do not evaluate this character as a special. So let me do it so that you can see it visually. So if I want that double quote to be part of my echo, I have to escape it. And you do that. Let me just give a caveat. It has been a very long time that I scripted. It's a very long time I did anything in Bash shell. So as I'm teaching you, I'm also trying to remind myself, okay, so I'm just saying that if I make mistake, I will do my best to correct myself, okay? Learning in public, we have to get comfortable with making mistakes in public and not being embarrassed, because that is how we learn. And we also empower others to see that it's okay to make mistake. So I don't pretend, there are some people, before they do this kind of session, they will go and almost do it first alone so that they can, correct all their mistakes, so that when they come and do the session, it's now perfect. I don't do that. I come in cold because I think it's important for people to see that we are all human beings. Okay. All right. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to echo it now. I have put my opening and closing double quotes, and then I'm going to copy the special smiley. What do they call it? I'm going to copy it and put it inside those my double quotes. Now I'm going to run it without escaping the double quote so you can see what happened. Okay? What is happening? The server is interpreting all the double quotes as beginning and ending of the echo. It doesn't know how to differentiate between the one that is open and closing and the one that should be returned back in the echo statement. So the way you do that is when you escape the character that shouldn't be interpreted, then the server knows how to handle it. Okay, so let me do it a third time, but this time I'm going to escape. That's how you escape. At least I think, oh, it has been long. But that's how you escape a character, by putting a backward slash in front of the character. You are telling the server that when you encounter this backward slash, the next character after it, don't evaluate it. Okay? When you encounter the backslash, the next character after it, don't evaluate it. Let it pass through unchanged or unevaluated. Okay? That's what you're telling the server. So now if I echo this, I get my full, what do they call it? Confused smiley. Okay? I get the full thing because the double quote that is part of it, I escaped it. And by escaping it, I told the server, don't evaluate this double quote normally. Just let it pass through. Okay? All right. Like I've said, just be dropping questions in the chat. You don't understand something, just be dropping it in there and I'll be reading it. Okay? I'm going to move on. All right? So that was the explanation for that. Now, it says, display the content of the Etsy password file. Okay. So, typically, when you are displaying, display content just means show what is inside the file. Display the content of the file. Okay. And typically, we use the cat command. If you ask me what cat stands for, I really don't know. I never really looked it up. But it's the cat command, okay? So the cat command is like a command that goes into a file and pulls, if you give cat with nothing, that is, if you just say cat with no options or anything, no filters, it will go into the file, grab all the content of that file and display it in standard output, which in this case is your terminal, because we have not changed the standard output. Okay? So in this case, standard output is your terminal. Standard input is your keyboard. Okay? Standard input, the device that is inputting information, is your keyboard. The device that is outputting information is the terminal, unless you change it. Okay? And we might go through, okay, good. Mr. James say, is cat and less the same thing? That is a very good question. Let's look at both of them. So cat Etsy password. So what cat does is it outputs, this is a lot of information. Okay, it outputs basically the content of this Etsy password file. It has outputted all the information, okay? And when it does it, it returns your prompt, okay? Now, let's look at less. You guys are taking me back like almost 7 years. I've not done this thing in a long time. So when you say less, now, if you notice, okay, what did you notice first of all? We are still getting the content of the file, but look at what is below here. We didn't get our prompt. Less is almost like a reader. It's like a built-in reader. And less is very helpful for long content. Okay? So let me go back. When I did cat, okay, cat Etsy password, you see how we are not seeing the top of the content. We are not seeing the top. It took us, it has displayed all the content, but it took us right to the bottom and returned the prompt. Okay. You see, the downside of this is for me to now see the top and I have to be scrolling up. You see, because it's a long file. Has a lot of content. So I have to be scrolling up to now see, okay, what was first before I got here. Whereas with less opens the content in a kind of a reader. So you see how we are still at the top, even though we know it's a long file, right? We're still at the top. So now you can use your arrow keys to now sort of like go through the file. You see, I can go up, then I'm using my down arrow key. It now allows me to line by line read through, the file, okay? So it's not exactly the same thing. It's like they are both producing content, but the format or the way the content is displayed is different, okay? So I'm using my arrow now and I'm going all the way down. I want to show you something. When I get to the end, you see where it says end, but I'm not in my prompt. There's no prompt, okay? So for me to get my prompt back, the prompt so that I can run more commands, I have to quit out of less. You have to quit out of less. And you quit out of it by saying Q. You just press your Q key and you quit out of it, okay? So less is like a reader, okay? All right. So that was the cat. Okay, then it says, what about two? Okay, so display content of Etsy password and Etsy host. So this is just two files, okay? So if I want to use cat, I will say my Etsy password, and I believe that you can string it. Okay, so you can chain multiple files. The only thing is going to show you, you see how we're at the end of Etsy password, and then right after it's giving me information for Etsy hosts. Okay. All right. So that is cat. Okay, continuing. It says, last line of a file. Okay, last lines of a file. So it's saying display the last 10 lines of Etsy password. Now, there's actually more than one way to do this, okay? So, remember when we said Etsy password, it gives us everything. There's a way that you can pipe, I just can't remember, and I don't know if I want to do the research. There's a way that you can filter what comes through cat so that you can either manipulate the data or show the data you want to show, okay? I can't remember. If we have time, somebody remind me. If we have time, I will look up how to do it this way, okay? But there is another command called the tail command. You have head and you have tail, okay? Head, I don't know why it seems like my laptop is not charging. Okay, 1 second, everybody. I don't know why my laptop is not charging. If this laptop ends up dying, no fear. Let's just get as far as we can. I will continue this session probably tomorrow. I think I have time tomorrow. Okay, so no fear. I don't know why the laptop is not charging. 1 second. Yes, I know you are not charging, and I don't know why. I mean, the charging icon shows there, but I don't know why. It's like power is not being delivered. Okay. I'm just warning you, if this shuts off, never fear, okay? I have Slack on my phone. I'll communicate with you there, and we will continue this probably tomorrow, okay? It's okay, no fear. We'll go as far as we can. Okay, so we have the head command and the tail command, okay? Head command starts counting from the top. Tail command counts from the bottom, okay? So since it says display the last 10 lines, so I believe we say tail, and then we use -n. I believe -n means number, like number of lines. And then you give it the number of lines that you want to return. And then you give it the file name. Okay? Tail starts counting from the end, the tail of the file. All right? And then dash n stands for number. How many lines, what number of lines do you want to return? Then you give it the number 10, then Etsy password. Okay? All right. So you can count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? If we did head, it will count from the top of the file. Okay? So if I say head, it's giving me the lines from the top of Etsy password. Okay? So that's the difference between the two. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, it says, it's almost like I knew. Display the first 10 lines. So we've already done that, okay, using head, and then you specify, okay. I think there's a default value. I think if I just do head Etsy password, I think there's a default. Yes, the default, if you don't pass in a number of lines, the default for head and tail is 10. Okay, that's the default. It will return 10 lines. Okay, all right, let's continue. It says, write a script that displays the third line of the file AICTA. Okay, I don't have this file. Okay, but the third line. Okay, so this is like a combination of head. It's like a combination of head and tail. Okay, so let me try. Hopefully power will last for this. Okay, so let me copy what I have here and put it in a file, and then I will show you how to kind of combine it. Okay, so let's see. Okay, how are you, Adobe? Okay, so let me let me rename that file. How do I rename a file? Move Y shebang, and I'm going to call it a third line. Okay, all right, so let's vim into third line. Okay, I'm going to remove this because it's not an executable, and then I'm going to copy. Okay, I've copied that text. Okay, so I'm going to save it. Okay, so if we cut that third line file, we are getting our text. So what is asking is asking that you should return the third line, just the third line. Okay, so let's think about it. How can we isolate this third line using head and tail? Okay, so with head, if we use head, we can grab the first 3 lines. Okay, and then if we use tail, after grabbing the first 3, if we use tail, we can grab the last line. Okay, so let's do it. So we're going to cut, or we're going to head, and then we're going to say number -n 3, third line. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work. And then I'm going to pipe that through. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll see. Pipe it through tail -n1. I'm winging it. I didn't practice ahead of time. Okay, so let me explain what I did. You see this straight is called it's called pipe, the pipe symbol. Okay, think of it like a sieve. You know when you sieve gari, or when you sieve flour. Okay, only what is valid will pass through the sieve. So if you have gari that have stones, okay, gari is valid, stones are invalid. So after you sieve it, it's only the gari that will pass through. The stones are blocked from passing through. Okay, so that's how you think of this pipe symbol. It's a sieve. Okay, so what I did was I first ran the head command against the file. Then the output, Okay, the result of that command, I passed it or I piped it to another command. Okay, I piped it to another command. And the second command was the tail command, which is only looking for the last sentence of this command. So the first two sentences were invalid. It didn't pass through. It didn't make it through the sieve, because the sieve is saying, give me only the last sentence. Okay? So the head command took the first 3 lines, and then we took those first 3 lines and piped it through to the tail command. And this tail command says, of these 3 lines that you piped through, give me the last line. And that's how we got this line. Okay? Okay. I hope that makes sense. I want to pause and wait for any questions to come through. If you don't have question, please give me thumbs up or just write it there in the chat. I got it. Okay? Because I want to make sure that at least those of you who are on the call, you are understanding. Okay? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, Adobe, thank you. I heard from you. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. Well, just keep chatting in there. You know, you can interrupt me. Okay, Martins, James, wonderful. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so let me continue. Okay, so let's keep going. I hope this is helpful, you know, even though you've done it before, but like you said, you want to, you know, you want to have understanding. Okay, so this one says, write a shell script that creates a file named. What sort of rubbish is this? Write a shell script that creates a file named exactly this, containing the text best school, ending by a new line. That'll be smarty. Okay. So I think this is just to get you this is to get you to understand escaping characters. Okay. All right. So wonderful. Okay. Well, let me grab the file name. It creates a file named exactly this. So it creates a file. Okay, well, I'm not going to write the script. I'm just going to go through the commands. Okay. Yes, I also hope my laptop doesn't die. I don't know, but so far so good, you know. So far so good. We'll just keep going, you know. You just roll, you know, roll with life. Don't get angry at life. You just roll with it. Eh? Okay, so if I wanted to create a file of this name now, okay, so you have the touch command. The touch command creates an empty file. Okay, the touch command. You can also like if you use the Vim, either VI or Vim, what that does is it creates the file and then opens the editor for you to start editing. Okay, but the touch command just creates the file, doesn't do anything, and the file will be empty. Okay, so I'm going to create this file, and they say this is the name that the file, you know, this is this is the name of the file. Okay, I'm going to say enter. Let's see what happened. Okay, of course, because there are so many characters, there's so much going on. Okay, so of course we're going to get an error, and it's a syntax error. Okay, all right, so let's see what is happening. It's telling me that there's a syntax error near this parentheses, which is here. Okay, which makes sense because colon is interpreted by the server not as a plain colon. It's interpreted in a different way. Okay, so the server got to this and it was like, I don't know what to do. Okay, all right, so let's see how we can make this work. Okay, that's the first step. We have to create a file with this name. Okay, so Let's see. I'm going, okay. So you see all these slashes. These slashes, okay, are going to be interpreted as an escaping, okay? So this first slash, the server will say, okay, this first slash means the next character needs to be left alone. So it will leave that star alone, asterisk, okay? Then it will come to this backslash again, and it will say, another backslash. It's telling me that the next character after it needs to be left alone. So this backslash will be left alone. Okay. So basically what we have to do, or one of the things we have to do, is we have to escape all these backslashes. Okay. If all these backslashes need to be part of the file name, that means we don't want the server to evaluate them. We just want the server to let them pass through. So we have to escape all of them. Okay. So escape this, escape that, escape that, escape this, escape this, escape that one, escape this one, escape that, escape that, escape that, escape that, escape that. And remember, we had this syntax error that I'm assuming is this colon here. So we have to escape that colon as well. Let's just see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens. So I'm going to create I'm going to create this file now with this name. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so we are having an error. Okay, so that means maybe this colon, I didn't need to escape it. I need to escape the parentheses, since that's where it's complaining. It's complaining about the parentheses. Okay, so let's see what happens. Oh, okay, we didn't get any error. But let's see if the name is actually what we expect, right? So if we ls, okay, we have two files in here. Let me do it long format so that we can see it on different line. Okay, so we have our two files, third line, and then this funky name. Let's see if we captured everything. We have the first one. This is the, this is what we are matching to. So we have the first and then we have the asterisk, then we have the two backslash. But see what we are missing? We are missing this single quote. Okay, so we didn't get it right. Okay, we are missing the single quote. Okay, we have the double quote, we have the best school, we have the double quote, we have, what do we have going on here? Okay, we have 4 backslashes when we're supposed to have 3 with a, okay, so we missed that. Then we have our asterisk and dollar. Then we have our backslash and question mark. Then we have a series of, okay, everything else is correct. You see, everything else is correct. So we are just missing. So you see what I'm teaching? The point of this exercise was to get you to understand escaping special characters. Okay, that's the point of the exercise. Okay, and is to escape it in such a way that you actually get back what you are expecting. Okay, so let me try again. Okay, let me try again. I don't want to waste too much time on this though. I mean, let me ask you, do you feel like you get the point of this, or do you want me to continue to the end? Let me know. If you want me to continue this to the end, I will. If you've gotten the point of it, this is just so it becomes trial and error. Once you understand how to do it, it just becomes trial and error. You just have to, trial and error, put your escaping where you think it needs to go, and you keep that process until you get back what you want. Okay? And I think I've shown you the approach. Okay? Okay, all right. Thank you, Bright. Okay, so I will keep moving. Okay, and then of course we know, how to, that is the file with this crazy name has to have the text best school. You know how to do that. Okay, all right. Let's keep moving. It says, write a script that writes into the file ls, the result of the command ls-la. If the file already exists, it should be overwritten. Okay. If the file does not exist, create it. Okay. All right. So let's do that one. Okay. Because I think this is going to introduce us to some new concepts that I think are good to know. All right. So we are writing a script that writes into the file. So what that means is write a script that will populate this file, okay, with some content. And that content needs to be the result of the command ls-la, okay? So ls-la, this, in my case, this is the content of that command, okay? This is the content, okay? And we don't want this content to come to standard output. We want it to be written into a file. Okay? All right. Now, the part about if the file doesn't exist. Okay, let me cover this part first, okay? Then we'll look at that. Okay. I'm not going to write the script. I'm going to show you what the script will contain, okay? Now, so we have our ls-la. And when we run the command naked like that, it sends the result to standard output and we see it, okay? Now, we have this file called third line, okay? Now, okay, this is good, okay? I'm going to keep the name, right? So, we have a symbol in Bash called single arrow, okay? And we have one called double arrow, okay? Now, these symbols are redirection symbols, okay? So what that means is, think of it like a traffic warden, okay? Cars are coming this way, okay? And as you get to the traffic warden, okay, the traffic warden tells you, go right. So he has redirected you. Does this mean we can escape? Yes, Adobe, yes, you can escape special characters by using the backstroke. Yes, exactly. So the traffic warden, the car is coming toward them. If they put their hand like this right, that car has to go right. So that is what these symbols, they're called redirection symbols. They redirect output or they redirect content to certain places depending on what you specify, okay? Now, let's look at what that looks like in practice, okay? So if I say ls-la naked, I get it on standard output, okay? The list of files in my present directory, okay? If I say ls-la redirect single arrow, okay? I'm going to redirect it into the file called third line. Now, before I do that redirection, let us see what is in third line. Okay? Third line has this text over here. Okay? That is what is currently in that file. Okay? Now, when I do the redirection, ls-la single redirect. It's important because you have two types. You have single, you have double. So single redirect into third line and I say enter. Nothing happens on the terminal because standard output has changed. Okay? The redirect has redirected the output of ls-la away from standard output into the file. So that's why we didn't see it listed like we have been seeing before, because the content was redirected, okay? So for us to see that content, we now have to open or we have to cut the third line file, okay? So when we cut third line, that is our output that we expected. But what happened to the content that was there before? It was overwritten. If you're taking notes, write that down. Single arrow redirect will always overwrite whatever content was in that file to begin with. Okay? Single arrow, it will erase whatever was there and replace it with what is being redirected into the file. Okay. Okay. What about double arrow? Double arrow is the same redirection, but it append content. It doesn't overwrite. Okay. So if I run that ls-al again, for this time I double redirect it, not single redirect, but I double redirect it into third line. Nothing is on the terminal because standard output has changed. Okay. But if I now cut the third line file, I see two entries of that ls-al. Okay. Because the second time I redirected it, I used double arrow. Double redirect. Double redirect always append at the end, and it's always an end append, not at the top. Okay? So it appends the content at the end. Single arrow overwrite. So if I run the single redirect again, if I run it again, and then we cut third line, we see we are back to just one set. You see? It has overwritten the double set we had before. It has overwritten this. Okay? So that is, pretty much it. Okay? All right. Now, if you have question, please put it in the chat. I'm going to continue, but if you have question, put it in the chat. Okay, now let's look at this aspect of if the file already exists, it should be overwritten. So we've seen the overwriting. If it doesn't exist, create it. I'm not going to pretend I know how to do that, but let's see. Let me ls-al, and I'm going to do it into a file, single redirect, which is overwrite. I'm going to do it into a file that doesn't exist. Let me say new file. Okay. Okay, I didn't get any error. Okay. Let's see if that new file was created. It was. Here is our file right here. Okay. All right. And let's see the content of new file. Yes. You see, the ls-al was piped. Okay. It was redirected rather into new file. Okay. So that worked. Let's see if this, because remember, this file didn't exist. Let's see if the same thing happens with a double redirect. I'm almost certain of the answer. So we're going to do an ls-al double redirect into new file 2. This new file 2 doesn't exist. Okay? It doesn't exist. And I haven't created it first before running this command. I'm just running the command. So let's see what happens. Okay, no error. Okay? And if we run ls-l, okay, we see new file 2. So what we have learned is that the redirect, whether it is single redirect or double redirect, if the file does not exist, it will create it. All right? If the file that you are redirecting to does not exist, double redirect and single redirect will create the file and complete the operation. It will complete the execution. Okay? All right. So that was that one. Okay, let's move on. Okay, it says, write a script that duplicates the last line of this file. Okay, let's do it. Okay, this is good. It's good to understand how this thing is working. Okay, all right, so let's see what we have going on. Okay, I need to get rid of some of these files. So let me I don't want to okay, remove that. Okay, and then let me remove new file 2 and third line. Okay, all right, nothing. Okay, so I want to create a file, and I'm going to call it what they are calling it here, ayakta. Okay, it's a new file. Let me insert the content so that we can now do the exercise. Okay, All right, I'm going to paste it and I'm going to save. Okay. All right, so it's asking us to duplicate the last line of the file inside the file. Okay, so you see this file, this IACTA file is saying that after our execution, this last line should be duplicated. We should have two of it at the end. Okay, we should have two of it. Okay. We should have two of it. That's what it's saying. Okay. So we already know that we need to grab the last line somehow, and then we need to duplicate it. Okay. So we have these commands. Okay. How do you grab the last line of a file? Tail. Okay. Or at least how do you grab the last, from the bottom up? We know we can use tail. Okay. And then when we grab the last line, how do we duplicate it? How do we append it to the file? Our redirect, right? Okay. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. So we are going to tail -n1. Okay. So that is, we are grabbing from the bottom, the first line from the bottom. Okay. Is the last line from the top, but it's the first line from the bottom. Okay. So we grab it of this file, and then when we grab that line, we double redirect it into that same file. Okay. What's going to happen? It might blow up in our faces. That's the wonderful thing about programming. If you make a mistake, you can fix it, but just don't make a mistake in production. That's when heads will roll. Okay, so we grab the last line from the file, okay, and then we double redirect it, which is appending. Okay, single redirect will erase that whole file and just put that one line. Okay, but double redirect will append. Okay, so we run that, we don't get any errors. Let us now cut the file, and we see our duplicated line. Okay. I'm going to stop there and ask for questions. Any questions? Anything confusing about what we just did? Anything? Okay, I'm getting thumbs up. Good. Okay. All right, let's keep going. We have about 10 minutes left. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. So, we see here, write a script that deletes all the regular files with a JS extension that are present in the current directory and all its subfolders. Okay. Write a script that deletes all the regular files that are present in the current directory. Okay, so I have to. Okay, good. It's making sense. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so let me have to set this up. So let me make a directory, and we're going to call it JS1. Okay, and let's see what we have. Okay, we have IACTA and JS1. Now I'm going to touch some files. I'm going to say JS file.js, JS file 1.js, okay, JS file 2.js, okay, and just for good measure, JS file 3.js. Let me leave it like that. Okay. All right. So we have those three files in our present directory. Okay. Now I'm also going to touch some files in that folder. So JS1, JS file 4.js, and then js1, js file 5.js. Let me just add one more. js file 6.js. Okay, so if I ls my present working directory, I have file 123.js, and if I ls the js1 directory, I have my file 4, file 5, and file 6. Okay, all right, so that's our setup. So it says write a script that deletes all the regular files, not the directories, with a JS extension that are present in the current directory and all its subfolders. So what that is telling you to do is asking you to delete all these files because they have a JS folder. Don't delete the folder, just delete the files inside that have that extension. So actually, let me do this. Let me touch JS1 HTML file 1.html. Okay, so let's have a file inside JS1 that is not a .js file. Okay, because that will really test our script. Okay, all right, so that's what we have to do. We are deleting these 3 files, which is in our present directory, and we are deleting these 3 files from the JS directory, but we have to leave the JS directory alone. We're not deleting this directory. Okay, all right. How do we do this? Well, you have to first gather those files. You have to look for them. Okay, I'm going to have to do a little bit of research because, like I said, it's been long. Let me see. Find man find. Okay, so let's see. The find utility recursively descends. Okay, good. It recursively descends the directory tree for each path listed, evaluating an expression in terms. Okay, so it says these are all the options that I can use with the find command. Okay, cause find to perform a depth first traversal, i.e. directories are visited in post order and all entries in the directory will be acted upon before the directory itself. Okay, by default, find visits directories in pre-order, okay, before their contents. Okay, all right. Specify a file hierarchy. No, cause, okay, primaries. This is a lot. Okay, yeah, this is a lot. You can see it's starting from A and this is just C. So that means we have a lot of options. Okay, all right, we have -delete. Okay, delete found files and or directories, always returns true. This executes from the current working directory as find recurses. Okay, so we're having some recursion down the tree. It will not attempt to delete a file name with a / character in its path name relative to dot for security reasons. Okay. Okay. So that was -delete. Okay. All right. Can you help us with ways to navigate man pages? My dear, what I do, I just use my up and down arrow. that's all. You know, man pages can be very, very verbose. That is a lot of English, like you rightly said. And I just use my up and down arrow. The thing is, you have to sort of calm yourself to read. Okay, because sometimes when you are programming, it's like but you have to just calm yourself, and because if you don't calm yourself, the information in man pages can be so overwhelming. Okay, so, and it also comes with practice. That's the truth. It also comes with practice. I've been doing this for a while, so you just have to learn how to calm yourself. So I'm looking at this -delete, and I think that might be the option I need. Okay, I'm just looking through to see if there's anything else that kind of jumps out at me. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it's telling me that, okay, there's like, okay, max depth, we don't need that. Name, okay. So dash name true if the last component of the path name matches okay, all right, okay. Okay, let's come out of here. Quit. Okay, so let's just see how far we can get. So let's start by finding the files. Let's not worry about deleting them yet, okay? Let's start with finding it. You see how I didn't look at this before time. That's why you see all this thinking that I'm doing, because I want you to see it. You know, like we have said in the Slack, learning how to find the information you need is very important, okay? All right, so let's say find. Now with find, you need to give it like a search, it's like something to search with, okay? So you say find, let's start with finding an actual file name. So JS file 1. We know this is one of the files in this directory, okay? So I'm giving it the whole file name. So I want to say find this file name, and then you have to tell it where to look. Now, because we are looking in our present working directory, we can use dot, okay? We can use dot because dot means where I'm standing. Remember from our last session, dot means where I am standing, okay? So find, and then what we are looking for, give me something to search for, and then tell me where to look, okay? And we are looking where we are, okay? So look at what happened. It's giving us, oh, this is interesting. Hold on. I didn't expect that. Let me see. Find. Oh, I lied. The path comes first. Okay, the location to look comes first before the expression. That's what this means. Synopsis. Synopsis tells you how to use it. Okay? This is the command. Synopsis tells you how to use it. So this is how to use it. You say find, then the stuff you have in here are optional like flags, okay? And then this is also optional flags, okay? And then this is, if you want to use -f for your path, this is also optional, okay? But you see, this, you know, that is, this path is not in a bracket, okay? So this is and not optional, this is required, okay? This is required. And then expression is optional. Expression means what am I searching by? What am I looking for? Okay? So let me correct myself. Okay? So instead of so this was it was backwards. So I am finding in my present directory, and what I'm looking for is JS file 1.js. Okay? So if I say enter, why is it giving me everything? This is weird. Anyway, we see it down. Yeah, we see it down here, but I don't know why it's giving me. It's basically, what it's doing is it's basically giving me, it's reproducing the entire, like from where I'm standing, it's giving me the entire tree. And I'm not sure why that is happening. So I have to read up on this. Basically, the point of this question is to teach you how to search for files, okay? Probably using find command. 1 second, let me just check something here. I have what I'm looking at. Just 1 second. Okay, you see? So I'm getting there. Slowly. Okay, so let's go through it. So the command is find -name. That's why it's giving, because I'm like, why are you giving me all of this? It's giving me all of that because I wasn't telling it that what you're searching by is the name. Okay, you're searching by the name of the file, right? Aha. So you have dash name, and these are things you can even Google it. You don't even have to look at man pages. Maybe if you Google it, you see something that's easier to read. Okay, so file dash name, and I'm looking for the name of this file. So is this dash name means search by name, because there are other things you can search by. There are other attributes of the file that you can search by. So you have to tell. Find is a very powerful command. I know people that have broken production using find command. It's not me. I'm not one of them. But find command is very powerful. So it's good to know how to use it. So dash name means search by name. Okay. And this is the name. Okay. Then you can also give it a type. Okay. The type tells it like it's a file. So type F means file. But let me remove type F first. Let me just see what dash name gives me. Illegal operation N. What did I do? Is it not correct? Ah, okay. I didn't give it, I didn't, remember what I said here? You have to tell it where to look. I didn't tell it where to look. I didn't tell it where to look. Yes, so that's why it gave me that error, okay? So find where I am by name, a resource called this name, okay? And you see I got it back, and it's giving me, this dot means where I am. And then this is the file. So this is what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting all this, This is what I was expecting, okay? All right, so that's find command. Somebody asked, can the sort command be used? Sort is to sort something, is to arrange something, not necessarily to find it, okay? Is to arrange it. So maybe if you want to find a number of files and then you want to arrange it alphabetically, or you want to arrange it reverse alphabetically, you can now use sort command to arrange it. Okay, that's sort command. Okay, so this is 1 o'clock. I'm going to have to end this. Okay, so this number 10 is just this no more JavaScript, number 10 is just testing your ability to use find command, and then so like, for example, if I wanted to delete this JS1 file, okay, I will say find, and then I will say, I believe it's -- delete. I believe. Let me check again. No, it's not -- it's delete. Okay. So what this is saying is, after you have found what I've asked you to look for, where you're looking for it, delete the file. Okay. So if I say, so, we didn't get any error. Let's see if it's deleted. ls-l, we can see that this file, korokoro, is missing. Okay. Is missing. Now, let me just cover this real quick, and then I have to go. Okay. Let's say we now want to find the remaining files. We want to find the remaining JS files where we are. Okay. So instead of putting the exact file name, we use what is called a wildcard. We need a session on this. Wildcard is like its own session. We use what is called a wildcard. What wildcard means is, let me show you. So like if I say star, what this star means is that anything could come before this .js. Okay? Anything could come before .js. Any file name that end in .js. So that star, combination of letters, numbers, symbol, anything, as long as it ends in .js. Okay? Let me remove this delete because I don't want to delete it. I just want to show you what comes back. Okay? Okay. It's telling me unknown primary or operator. So there's something wrong with my, okay. I have to put it in quotes. I have to put it in quotes, because if I don't put it in quotes, it's evaluating it a different way. Okay. So I have to put it in quotes. Okay. Now, the find command is recursive. What that means is, even though I told it to search where I am, it is searching where I am and in all the folders that are present where I am. Okay, so by default, the find command is recursive. It will go deeper. It doesn't go up, it goes down. So it doesn't go to the parent folder. It doesn't go up to the parent, no, but it will go to all the children. Okay, all the children, all the grandchildren, it will go there. Okay, so I searched for any file, the asterisks, that end in .js. So it went through, it found me this one, file 2, it found me file 3, then it entered the folder JS1 and it found file 4, file 5, and file 6. Remember, in that JS1, we have an HTML file, but it didn't come back. Why? Because it doesn't end in .js. Okay? So if I now wanted to delete all these files, you see what I'm teaching you? Before you perform a destructive action, make sure that you know what that action is acting on. Don't run destructive actions anyhow. Okay, this is about being a responsible programmer. Okay, I didn't just run .-delete. I first ran it without the delete so that I can see what I'll be deleting, so that I can make sure that what I'm getting back is actually what I want to delete. I know people that have been fired from their jobs because they didn't follow this approach. They didn't follow this protocol. Okay, you have to be very careful with destructive commands. A destructive command or a destructive execution is anything that destroys a record. Okay, even moving, destroying, moving, copying, any sort of manipulation, be careful. Okay, so I first ran the find command naked to see what came back first. So now that I am sure that I am targeting the correct files, I can now add the delete. Okay, I can add it now because I'm confident that I'm not touching anything I don't mean to touch. Okay, that is what is called being a responsible programmer. Okay, it's not just enough to have the skills. You have to understand. And right now you're only working on your own. Eventually you'll be working with a team. Okay. So if I run now the -delete on that, okay, if I ls now, I shouldn't see any of the files, but you see I still have the folder. I still have the folder itself that was containing those .js files has been left alone. But if I ls-l that folder, we will see that there's only one file remaining, and that is our HTML file. All the JS files are gone. Okay? All right, I'm going to have to stop there because we are over time. Thank you so much for attending. I should have time tomorrow. I'm going to liaise with your leader and Mr. David and see what we are able to. Maybe we'll just continue because we still have, even in this chapter alone, we still have some other commands to go through. Okay. What will help me is if you can say in the chat, if you can actually write the command types that you want me to cover, if you can put it in the thread, that will be helpful so that I can just target those ones. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end now. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you on Slack. Okay. Bye-bye.